welcome to my channel. Well, this is a bad battery update and something I discovered through it about low voltage protection. It's something that you might not consider because the situation might not occur to you, but if it does, it can make a big difference. All right, now what I'm talking about is this battery right here is a bad battery. I haven't taken it apart because I wanted to discharge it completely, see how long it would take to discharge in this Baton 3. And the problem is, as the voltage goes down in these batteries, the circuitry in these modern flashlights will step down the voltage, the light output, so as not to draw too much current out of what they know is a dying battery. So they're trying to stretch their light output out and give you more usable time. In this Baton 3, it went from 3 steps, in a turbo like normal, to 2 steps, no turbo, to finally just 1 light output and moonlight. And then as I kept continuing to test it, it went to just moonlight. Now, these lights can last for days on moonlight, so I'm not going to extend this test that long. So what I did was, this was still operating in moonlight. It wouldn't go any higher, so I can't discharge it any faster. I'm trying to accelerate the test, just to come to a conclusion. Like, when is this battery going to be so dead it won't operate the light? Now, from having it turned off for a little bit, batteries sometimes will do this, kind of like you've probably seen this in vehicles before. You've been trying to start it, and the battery's just getting lower and lower and lower, and you're saying, okay, let's give it a rest. And if you give it a rest, the thing gets a little bit more juice. All right, so let's try to go into moonlight on this one. All right, that's what it finally gets to in this Baton 2. It finally gets to moonlight, and you wouldn't be able to select it any higher. This is the same battery. I haven't charged it, I haven't touched it. All right, so I knew this was going to go on forever. So what I did was, this is an older Olight. Maybe it doesn't have the complete battery protection circuitry that, a newer Wurkhose has. So put it in here. Turn it on. Right away flashing means, hey, the battery's low, you need to change it, right? And I go, all right, I know that. Give me turbo. I don't care. I need all the light I can get. Look at the house it's stepping down. You're going to find something else that's going to happen. This flashlight won't go into moonlight. It'll turn off. It'll give you no light. The Baton, maybe because it's older. Ooh, the magnets. Maybe because it's older and everything, but the Baton will keep going in moonlight. So that's just something to consider. If you're in a situation where your battery is running dead and you've got a flashlight that has low voltage protection in it, it'll get to the point where the light will just shut off. And you can click the switch all you want, it won't work. Now, at least this lithium battery is kind of like the old ones in that you're not completely dead and out of the water on light. You may have to let the battery rest for a little bit and come back to life. But this one, see, I'm trying to get, there's turbo. Let's really suck the power out of that sucker. So you won't let it, oh, there it went. Bam. All right, it's out. It won't work. Click, 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 click. Nothing. Now, you saw how that was just, on an older incandescent bulb, you didn't have this problem because it would just keep getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and you would have a kind of a warning. This one, there is no warning. Your light is just like there and then it's not. All right, we can take the same battery, we're bumping all this, put it back in the baton, and we've got some usable light. It's not much, but this thing will run like this at this light for quite a while, and then it'll step down to basically a moonlight where you can't see. And then I have reached a point where it'll just shut off. I think it's in moonlight now. Yeah, but it'll go for quite a while. So that's something to consider. Having an older style. Now, I didn't try it with the new Baton 3 that I've got that takes the 18650. I don't know why. I was just using this one because it's Old Faithful, and I knew it would discharge a battery pretty good. So something to keep in mind is two things. First, you don't know what you've got if you got a random type of battery. And if you're just charging it all the time, like say once a week, you put it in a battery charger and it's at 90% or whatever, and it charges up pretty quickly, and you go, all right, I'm good to go. And you don't use it much. You just use it intermittently, so you don't discharge it like this test did. You may think you've got a good battery, but in reality, that thing's only going to last you in one of these type of lights probably a couple of hours, and then it's gone. You'll have to let the battery coast, and then put it in and hope for the best. And yeah, you're in pretty dire straits when you're in that situation. You're down to just, see, now it's kind of reviving. So a dead battery isn't always completely dead. It's in its danger zone. Now, if I try to go any lower, this thing is not. It's letting me go a little bit lower, but it's still flashing. So what you have to remember when you're in a low battery situation is go to the lowest mode you can. This one can operate in moonlight by, you hold the switch down and hit the tail switch. See, it didn't even have enough power to do that now. So it's dead. Just by fiddling around with it, I killed the power on it. For this flashlight, because it's got low voltage protection, most of them say, Sofin, Workhos, focus on that, LVP, while on, if battery voltage is lower than 2.7, it turns off automatically. High voltage, is the opposite too. If you get too high of a voltage, you drop something in there that's beyond that. But see, and that was for the WK15. They all have, this is the Sofin SF IF22A. I was looking through them all, and they're all basically saying they've got low voltage protection in them. So I don't remember Olight talking about that. Now, what is that low voltage protection for? It's not for the flashlight. It's for the battery. Now, if you're out in a situation where you need the light, who cares about the battery? If you survive and a light allows you to survive, to be able to fix what you need to be able to fix. See, this one's completely, no, it doesn't want to work, neither one of them. So I think, I'll make sure I put it in the right way. it didn't. There we go. See, I keep forgetting that. This one goes heads up. This one goes heads down. Yeah, see? This, even though it's red, it doesn't have that flashing red. It's red. It lets you know you got a really low battery, but you still have usable light. So just keep that in mind on your flashlights. Yeah, you don't want to be in a situation where you only got one flashlight and one battery, and the battery is, almost dead. But in this situation, in this pairing right here, you can have some light. It's not much, but it's better than nothing. If you're in total darkness or something, it would be better than nothing. With this light right here, you're intermittently going to have some light, but you're not going to be able to last as long as one of these. Now, maybe if I fidgeted with it, where I take this and I don't even try to start in a regular mode because you're sucking up a lot of light, and I start out in moonlight, maybe we could get this one to function. But again, because of your choice in batteries or flashlights, you're now in a situation where you're trying to improvise and compromise and think your way out of a situation. And if you've already got something stressful, like why are you in the dark in the first place? Why are you alone with... let's try to turn it in moonlight to begin with. All right, there. Now, if you kept it like that and you didn't go to the regular power, you might be able to operate for a while, like with the Baton 3. But once that low voltage thing starts kicking in and saying, hey, you're dropping voltage too much. The last time I measured this battery, it was 3.03 volts or something like that. So it's a 3.7 volt battery, and it's dropping down pretty low. Let me get the multimeter. Oops, I dropped the microphone. Come here, microphone. And I've been testing, this is not it, this is a charged one, but I've been testing this Workhos on the discharge thing. I ran into it in a situation, but I'll discuss that later. All I can tell you right now is this thing is running at least at or above the capacity, the rated capacity on it. So these are good batteries right here. It may not be, high amp Samsungs and stuff like that, but whatever they're using, it's a decent battery. It's not lying about its output. All right, this guy's still in moonlight mode and still going, but we're gonna see how low of a voltage this thing is operating on. It's right on the edge of this flashlight not working at all. Like right now, we have to be in moonlight just to get light output to last longer than like 10 seconds. Look at that, 2.94 volts. So yeah, it's dropping down there pretty low. Now, old carbon zinc or whatever the hell they were, the old carbon type batteries, those suckers would go down to like 0 volts. I mean, it'd take a while, but you'd have operatable, I don't know about operatable light. You'd have a glow coming out of the bulb. But yeah, to me, this is interesting. I'm not doing this just to say, ooh, look what I did. If I learn something, I want to pass that knowledge on, because if I learn something by myself, yeah, that just makes me a little bit smarter, but it doesn't help anybody else out unless I can pass that knowledge. See how bright that is when you put a regular light in there? Let's try this guy again. To put this one at moonlight, you have to hold this one down and engage the switch. Well, the switch is already turned on this one. Oops. Yeah, that'll help it a lot. Drop it, bang it. That's always good. And temperature affects batteries also, in that cold will also suck out the life of a battery. It's not real cold in here. All right, yeah. So hold that down, engage the switch, and get that piece of hair off there. It's getting pretty hairy in here. All right, so there. We've got our moonlight again. So yeah, that's one way to work around it. I guess you got to be aware of what you've got going on. If you got one of these low voltage type things, because see, it doesn't even run its indicator in moonlight, because it knows, hey, you're wanting to conserve power. But if you turn it in a regular mode, it's not going to last a whole... It's going to give you some light. And this is amazing, considering how low capacity this battery really is on that discharge thing. 24 milliamps. I mean, yeah, that's less than a AAA. That's less than a button cell battery. I mean, that's just bad. All right, let's see if we can suck up power. I want to get turbo. I want turbo. Give me turbo. I got to see that monster out there. Nope, no turbo for you. Oh, come on, no soup for you. Oh man, come on! I just saw Sasquatch out there. I was about to get $1 million video. I was about to go viral, and my light died at the last second. Well, yeah. Piss poor planning equals poor performance. So yeah, there you go. I hope you found that sort of interesting. Guys, quit magnetizing each other. Look at these magnets going crazy, grabbing tail clips and stuff. So yeah, I'm still completing my test. This is just a bonus stuff here for those of you that are still stuck around. All right, so with the Wacos flashlight battery that I was testing, I was doing the discharge test, and I told you I ran into that problem where I dropped it and I had to start over. So here I started over, and at 1 hour, at 2 hours, let's put it right here because I put that line where I dropped it. At 2 hours and 37 minutes on the resumed test, I was at 65% and 1,171 milliamp hours. At 3 hours, I was at 55% of battery capacity. It was at 3.81 volts and 1,379. 3 hours on this test. All right. 3 hours and 15 minutes, I was at 50%. This is what I wanted to see, 50%. So if anything screwed up, I would say, well, if half your battery's capacity at 15% is 1496, double it, and you come pretty close to the rated voltage. I mean, the rated milliamp hours on it. This is where things started getting weird. At 4 hours, it was 4 hours and 30 minutes. The battery was down to 30%, 3.61 volts, 2,126 milliamps. All right. I went to sleep. When I woke up, 4 hours had passed. It's 8 hours later. It's still at 30%. It's still at 3.6 volts. But now the milliamps is 3,860. So I think what it was going to do is try to discharge it completely, because it's gone down below 30%. I don't know what it was trying to reach. If it was voltage, if it was trying to get down to 3 volts, it didn't. It wanted to reach whatever it thought was in this program was 0 volts or zero capacity, whatever it reaches, because this thing over here was on the bottom one where it's trying to like recharge it. It's the second one when it's flashing is like the discharge, and if you're going through the cycle, the first one is The top one is, it flashes to charge the battery up to 100%. Then it goes to the second symbol, and it does this discharge symbol. And it discharges it to I don't know what. Like I said, I passed out, and the other time I dropped the battery, so I don't know what happens there, but it at least goes to 30%. It got stuck. It got stuck at 30%. It was not going anywhere. So I switched to channel 1 on that thing, and I bumped the amps up from 5 amps. That's a program that runs it at half an amp. I bumped it up from 0.5 amps to 1 amp. And then it started charging. Then the voltage started going up. It's still going, but I'm just writing these notes down here. It took over 2 hours to go from 30% to 100. It's on 99% right now. And at first it was 99%, 2,300 milliamps. It keeps going up. It hasn't finished. Let me go over and check, see what it. All right, its current status is, it's 3 hours into that charge. It's still at 99%. The voltage is still at 4.2, but the milliamps now has gone up to 2,600 and something. So I don't know what it's doing, but when it finishes, it'll give me the final reading. And that final reading was from 30% to 100%. Now, I don't know if it takes the initial capacity that it was at 30% and adds this up to the total or whatever. But I'm going to give you the final number. But it looks like this thing is a decent battery. I know it's better than this one. So, just looking at the two, you could weigh them and everything else. Well, this one's a button top and this one's a flat top. But, I mean, just looking at a battery, you can't tell, is it a good battery or is it a bad battery? You have to test it. And if you don't have a discharger and you don't have all this other stuff, you can test it in your flashlight just by going to the flashlight's rated length of run time. We'll say it high. Take the highest one, or turbo, but take high and see if you get 130 minutes. And just turn it on and leave it there. If you get 130 minutes at high or so, your battery's probably okay. If it discharges and runs out a lot quicker, then the battery's bad. But these tester things, this one is, my thoughts on this is it's a good battery charger. I still have kind of mixed feelings about this discharge feature and how well and how accurate it is. I don't know. I don't have enough data samples. I don't have enough testing. Like I said, my first one messed up, and the second one is still ongoing. I need to test more than one battery to find that out, But so far, it's given me useful information. And the thing I've learned the most about it is what happens in a flashlight when you've got low voltage battery. How does your battery react? And different flashlights will act different ways. So there you go. Sorry for getting all confused. Let me put all this back together. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.